The fluorescent glow of my laptop screen cast shadows across the hallway as I stood frozen, heart hammering against my ribs. Through the half-open bedroom door, my wife Elena's voice drifted out with crystal clarity. 6 more months, maybe a year at most, she said into her phone, her tone carrying that strategic edge I'd mistaken for ambition when we first met. Richard's accountant mentioned the business valuation should cross 7 figures by next year. I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing. Mom, the lawyer confirmed I'm entitled to half of everything, Elena continued. Community property laws are clear. Every asset acquired during the marriage gets divided equally. I've been documenting it all, his expenses, revenue streams, the complete client roster. My attorney says it's an airtight case. Her mother's response came through faintly, but Elena's answer rang out sharp. Alimony. Absolutely. I supported him through 2 years of building this company. I stayed home. I managed our household. That contribution counts legally. He'll be paying me for years. A pause settled over the conversation before Elena's voice returned, harder now. Mom, I married him when he was pulling in $60,000 at some mind-numbing corporate position. Now his gross income exceeds $1 million annually. I didn't sign on to be married to someone who locks himself in his office 12 hours daily, but I endured the startup phase. I've earned my share. When are you telling him? Her mother asked. Not yet. The business valuation needs to hit $1.2 million minimum before I file. My lawyer emphasized that timing determines everything. We need maximum documented asset value. I stood there for perhaps 2 minutes, processing the systematic dismantling of our marriage I'd just witnessed. Then I turned, walked back outside, and sat in my car. Emotions crashed over me in waves, rage, devastation, numbness, then nothing at all. I drove aimlessly for an hour through darkened streets before returning at 10. Elena greeted me normally, asking about my client meeting with genuine seeming interest. She kissed me goodnight. I lay awake beside her sleeping form, staring at the ceiling as she breathed peacefully, already planning my response. At 7 the next morning, I called my father. Marcus had retired after selling his own consulting firm 15 years prior. He answered on the second ring. Dad, I need your help immediately. Can you come over today? He caught the urgency in my voice. I'll be there at 9. When Elena left for her yoga class, I showed my father everything. The conversation I'd overheard. The text messages I'd discovered on her laptop while she showered, her communication history with her attorney, complete with dates, strategy sessions, and screenshots of our business bank statements she'd been forwarding for evaluation. Marcus sat quietly, absorbing the betrayal. Finally, he spoke. You understand what you're contemplating could face legal challenges. I know, I said. But I'm not hiding assets illegally. I'm restructuring my business within legal boundaries. I just need it completed before she files. He nodded slowly. Let me call my attorney. By 5 that evening, we had documentation prepared. A sale agreement transferring business assets and client contracts from my ownership to my father's. Purchase price, $1,000. This will raise immediate red flags, my dad's attorney warned. Selling a profitable enterprise for $1,000. Her lawyer will claim fraudulent transfer. It's a legitimate business decision, I countered. My father is assuming operational control. I'm remaining involved as an unpaid intern to learn advanced business operations under his mentorship. It's a completely standard arrangement. The attorney smiled faintly. You're certain about this path? Absolutely. We executed the paperwork. I transferred my LLC ownership to Marcus, client contracts, intellectual property, operational systems, everything. We documented extensive reasoning, seeking experienced mentorship, restructuring for sustainable growth, leveraging my father's 3 decades of consulting expertise. That evening, Elena found me at the dining table. How was your day, babe? She asked brightly. Productive. Made some significant business decisions. Dad's taking over the company. I'll be working under his guidance for the foreseeable future, learning proper scaling strategies. She blinked. What? We've been discussing it for months, I said casually. He ran a successful consultancy for 30 years. I've been struggling with the growth phase. It made sense to transfer ownership so he can teach me correctly. You sold him the business. Her voice had gone tight. Closed today. Her face drained of color. For how much? $1,000. Family arrangement. He's providing mentorship in exchange. She stared at me, comprehension dawning slowly. You sold $1 million business to your father for $1,000. The business isn't worth $1 million, I corrected. That's projected valuation. Current value based on tangible assets and existing contracts is roughly what we agreed on. Besides, he's family. He's educating me in exchange. Elena excused herself abruptly and disappeared into the bedroom. Through the door, I heard her urgent phone conversation, undoubtedly with her attorney. I finished my dinner, watched television, and went to bed. She spent the night on the couch. 3 days later, Elena requested a conversation. I think we need separation. Our marriage isn't functioning. Okay, I said simply. She'd clearly expected resistance. I'm filing for divorce. I've already retained legal counsel. Understood. I'll get my own attorney. That's it. That's your entire response. What else would you like me to say? You want a divorce. I'm not going to contest it. She looked almost disappointed. We'll need to divide our assets. The house, savings accounts, your business. My dad's business now, I reminded her. I don't own a company anymore. Her jaw tightened visibly. We'll see what my lawyer says about that. Elena moved out within 48 hours, relocating to her mother's place. She filed divorce papers the following week. Her attorney's initial asset disclosure demand was comprehensive. They wanted independent business valuation, 3 years of tax returns, complete client contract documentation, all business banking records, my personal financial statements, and detailed documentation of the business sale to my father. My attorney responded with our prepared materials, the sale agreement, LLC ownership transfer, new business structure showing Marcus as owner and me as unpaid intern. Her lawyer called mine. I sat in the room as my attorney activated the speaker. What exactly is this? Her lawyer demanded. What's the problem? My attorney asked calmly. Your client sold a 7-figure business for $1,000 3 days before my client indicated she wanted divorce, and now claims he's an unpaid intern. This is textbook asset concealment. My client restructured his business arrangement with his father. Perfectly legitimate transaction between family members. He's receiving education in business management. Actually quite common. He's hiding marital assets. I'm filing a motion for fraudulent transfer. Feel free. My client has extensive documentation proving this was a genuine business decision. Email correspondence between him and his father going back 6 months discussing this transition. Those emails existed now. Marcus and I had been thorough in creating a paper trail. Her lawyer sputtered. He generates 6 figures annually and you're claiming he's an unpaid intern. He's learning from his father under a family mentorship arrangement. Very standard practice. We'll subpoena the father. We'll obtain business records. You're welcome to try. The business belongs to my client's father now. It's not marital property. The line went dead. 2 weeks later, the motion arrived. Elena's attorney filed for emergency hearing, claiming I'd concealed assets, demanding the business sale be voided, and requesting temporary spousal support of $8,000 monthly. The hearing proved intense. Her lawyer attacked aggressively. Your Honor, the respondent sold a profitable business valued over $1 million to his father for $1,000 mere days after his wife indicated she wanted separation. This clearly constitutes an attempt to hide marital assets. The judge looked at me. What's your response? My attorney stood. Your Honor, my client restructured his business with his father's experienced guidance. This was discussed for months before any marital difficulties arose. We have comprehensive documentation. Produce it. We presented emails from 4 months prior, my discussions with Marcus about growth struggles, his offer to assume operations and provide mentorship, long-term business planning conversations. Your Honor, her lawyer interrupted, these emails are obviously fabricated retroactively. Do you have evidence supporting that claim? The judge asked. The timing is extraordinarily suspicious. Suspicious isn't evidence. Continue. Her lawyer pivoted. He claims unpaid intern status, yet the business generates substantial revenue. Where are those funds going? My attorney responded smoothly. To my client's father, who owns the business. And the father is simply keeping it. It's his business. He can allocate proceeds as he determines appropriate. The judge reviewed the paperwork. What's your current income? 0, Your Honor. I'm learning business operations from my father. How are you supporting yourself financially? Savings. My father occasionally assists with groceries. I'm living very modestly. Elena practically hissed from her side of the courtroom. The judge deliberated. Motion to void the business sale is denied pending further discovery. However, I'm ordering temporary spousal support of $2,000 monthly based on established marital lifestyle and your documented savings balance. My attorney interjected, Your Honor, my client has approximately $15,000 in personal savings. At $2,000 monthly, that provides less than 8 months of support. Then he should secure employment soon, or his father can compensate him for his work. We left the courthouse. Elena was seething in the parking lot. You think you're clever, she snapped. My lawyer will dismantle your little scheme. It's not a scheme. It's business restructuring. You concealed assets. You'll pay for this. I didn't conceal anything. I sold my business. That's legal. Her mother emerged from a nearby vehicle. You're despicable. My daughter supported you. Your daughter was counting days until my business reached a specific valuation so she could claim half. I overheard the conversation. I saw the messages. Her mother's face flushed red. You were spying on her. I walked into my own house and overheard you both planning my financial destruction. That's not spying. That's awareness. We'll hire a forensic accountant. We'll prove fraud. Please do. Everything's documented and legal. They departed. I went home, ate a sandwich, and felt oddly detached, not triumphant, not devastated, simply in motion. The forensic accountant's report arrived 6 weeks later. Elena's lawyer had retained an expensive firm to examine everything thoroughly. Their findings: business sale appeared significantly undervalued. However, no evidence of hidden accounts or transferred funds existed. Client contracts were legitimately transferred. Business revenue was flowing to Marcus's business account. I had no access to those funds. My personal spending had decreased 90% since the sale. Her lawyer filed another motion for emergency hearing on fraudulent conveyance. This hearing lasted 3 hours. Their forensic accountant testified that the business was worth between $800,000 and $1.2 million based on revenue and client relationships. So selling it for $1,000 clearly indicates fraud, her lawyer asked. It appears substantially undervalued, yes. My attorney cross-examined. Is it common for family businesses to have internal transfers at non-market rates? Well, yes, but. And is it common for parents to mentor their children in business operations? Yes, but. Would you agree that business valuation is subjective, especially for service-based businesses dependent on specific client relationships? To some extent, yes. No further questions. Then Marcus testified. He was masterful. Why did you agree to purchase your son's business for $1,000? Because he's my son. He was struggling with growth management. I offered to assume operational control and teach him properly. The monetary amount wasn't the point. The education was. And the revenue from the business goes into my business account. I use it for expenses, contractors, overhead, standard business operations. Are you compensating your son? Not currently. He's learning. Once he demonstrates competency, we'll discuss appropriate compensation. Her lawyer jumped in. Isn't it remarkably convenient that he suddenly became destitute right when his wife files for divorce? Marcus looked at her steadily. My son made a business decision months before any divorce discussion. If his wife has concerns about timing, perhaps she should have been more transparent about her intentions. Objection. Speculation, her lawyer snapped. Sustained. Stick to facts, the judge said. Marcus nodded. The facts are straightforward. I own a business. My son works for me unpaid while learning. This is a standard family business arrangement. The judge called a recess, returning an hour later. I've reviewed all materials. While the business sale appears undervalued, I cannot find evidence of fraud. Family business transfers frequently occur at non-market rates. He paused. However, I'm ordering structured settlement negotiation. The wife is entitled to a share of marital assets. The business was built during the marriage using marital resources. Even if currently owned by the father, the wife contributed to its development through household support. My attorney nodded, having anticipated this. The judge continued, I'm appointing a mediator. You have 60 days to reach settlement. If you can't agree, we proceed to trial. Mediation was grueling. Her lawyer opened at $400,000, half the business valuation plus spousal support compensation. My attorney countered. The business was sold for $1,000. That's the documented value. We'll offer $50,000 from my client's father as a goodwill settlement. Her lawyer laughed outright. Goodwill? Your client committed fraud. Prove it. We negotiated through 3 sessions. Her lawyer brought Elena's mother as a witness to the planning conversations. She discussed divorce for months, her mother testified. She knew about the business value. My attorney pounced. So you're confirming she was planning divorce specifically to maximize asset extraction? Her mother stumbled. That's not, she was just being practical. Practical about planning divorce around maximum financial gain. Her lawyer objected. We moved forward. Eventually, realistic numbers emerged. She wanted $300,000. We offered $75,000. She reduced to $250,000. We increased to $100,000. Her lawyer pulled Elena aside for a whispered conference, their voices carrying. My client needs to understand where this money originates. My client's father will pay from business proceeds. Why would he do that? Because it terminates this litigation and allows everyone to move forward. More huddling. Elena's face was flushed, angry, clearly realizing she wasn't getting her anticipated windfall. We'll accept $175,000. Final offer. My attorney glanced at me. I looked at Marcus. He nodded. Agreed. But it's structured. $75,000 at signing, $50,000 in 6 months, $50,000 in 12 months. No. Lump sum. Structured or no agreement. My client's father doesn't have $175 liquid. A lie, but strategic. More conferring. Elena looked desperate now, probably carrying debts, probably having promised her lawyer a substantial percentage. Fine. Structured. We signed papers 2 weeks later. The divorce finalized simultaneously. No ongoing alimony since I had no documented income. She received her car paid off, $8,000 from our joint savings, and the structured $175,000 settlement. I retained the house, refinancing to remove her name and paying her $25,000 for her equity stake. The entire process consumed 7 months. 4 months have passed since the divorce finalized. Time for the complete picture. That $175,000 Marcus paid Elena came from his retirement savings, not business proceeds. I'm repaying him slowly. We have a legal loan agreement, interest-free family loan, properly documented for tax purposes. The business remains Marcus's legally. I'm still technically an unpaid intern. But we have a buyback agreement drafted through his attorney. In 3 years, I purchase it back from him for $1,000. Everything documented. When I do, I'll own a successfully developed business with 3 additional years of revenue growth that was never part of my divorce settlement. Meanwhile, I do get compensated occasionally. Marcus hires me as an independent contractor sporadically, $3,000 here, $5,000 there for specialized projects. Enough to cover expenses without triggering post-divorce support modifications. Elena, from what I've heard through mutual acquaintances, burned through most of the settlement rapidly. Apparently, she'd accumulated $40,000 in credit card debt I'd been unaware of. That consumed a substantial portion. Then she took a recovery trip to Europe with her mother, another $15,000 gone. She's working now in retail management, earning around $45,000 annually. She lives in a modest apartment. Her mother apparently complains constantly about how I ruined her daughter's life. The irony isn't lost on me. Here's the reality, though. This wasn't a clean victory. The $175 Marcus paid hurt. That was real money from his retirement savings. Yes, I'm repaying him, but it'll take years. The legal fees reached $28,000 on my side alone. The stress aged me visibly. I lost 15 pounds during the divorce, healthy weight, perhaps, but still. I live differently now. Smaller. Quieter. I don't make significant purchases. Don't discuss finances. Keep everything close. Maybe that's paranoia. Maybe that's wisdom. I'm still determining which. The house feels empty. I thought I'd feel victorious living here alone. Mostly it just feels empty. I'm 35, divorced, sleeping in a house I had to refinance to keep. Not exactly the dream. But here's what I do have. My business, still operating, still growing. Marcus has been genuinely helpful with scaling strategies. Revenue is actually up. We're on track for $420,000 this year. When I buy it back in 3 years, I'll own something we built together. Something she can never touch. And I learned something valuable. When someone shows you who they are, believe them immediately. She showed me she valued my income over me. Created spreadsheets tracking my earning potential. Timed her divorce around asset extraction. That's not a partner. That's a strategic planner. I'm glad I discovered this before children, before the business hit 8 figures, before I was irreversibly committed. Some friends think I was vindictive. She was your wife. You should have split fairly. Fairly. She was planning to leave me the moment I became financially successful enough. Was that fair? Other friends think I'm brilliant. You played the system perfectly. I didn't play anything perfectly. I reacted to betrayal with the only strategy one could see. It wasn't elegant. It was messy and expensive and stressful. But it was necessary. Marcus and I have dinner weekly now, usually Thursdays. We discuss business, life, the divorce. He never says, "I told you so," even though he'd warned me about rushing into marriage. He just listens, occasionally offering perspective. You know, he said last week, most men in your situation would have just accepted the loss, handed over half, and moved forward. Yeah. The fact that you saw the problem and acted, that takes courage, even if it wasn't perfect execution. It definitely wasn't perfect. Nothing in divorce is. But you protected what you built. That matters. I'm not dating. Not ready. Maybe won't be for a while. It's difficult to trust after watching someone I loved calculate exactly when to leave me for maximum profit. But I'm okay. The business keeps me engaged. The house is mine. I'm repaying Marcus monthly. Life continues moving forward. There's no Hollywood ending here. Elena didn't have some revelatory moment. She didn't apologize or admit wrongdoing. She's out there right now probably telling people I'm the villain who concealed assets and cheated her in the divorce. And legally, technically, maybe I did. The business sale was aggressive. Probably wouldn't withstand intense scrutiny. But by the time anyone cares enough to investigate thoroughly, it'll be years past and significantly harder to prove. The thing about consequences, they're not always immediate or dramatic. Sometimes consequence is just living with your choices. She lives with choosing money over marriage. I live with the defensive mechanisms I constructed. She wanted half of a successful business. Instead, she got a structured settlement and a retail position. I wanted a partner who valued me beyond my bank account. Instead, I got an empty house and trust issues. We both lost things. The difference is I still have my business. And that's enough. The intern arrangement ends in November when I complete my training program. Marcus and I will restructure to contractor status, official, documented, properly taxed. In 3 years, I'll buy back my business. By then, Elena will be a distant memory. That's the real revenge, I suppose. Not dramatic courtroom victory or public humiliation. Just moving forward, building something, recovering. Some people ask if I'd do it differently. Honestly, maybe. The stress nearly destroyed me, the legal fees, the paranoia, the constant fear that her lawyer would discover some loophole. But then I remember that conversation I overheard. Her voice so casual, discussing the exact dollar amount she wanted to extract from me. The timeline. The strategy. And I think, yes, I'd do it exactly the same way. She played a long game. I just played a slightly longer one.